It's like you are traveling on a road, a very long journey, and you are in the middle of that road, and your car breaks down. Unfortunately, you don't have any extra time, and you are in the middle of nowhere, and your car has just broken down. What are you going to do? You don't have any extra time. You are in the middle of nowhere. What exactly are you going to do? That is the scenario, or that is the case if you are dependent on a single source of income. It is dangerous for you to depend on a single source of income. If anything happens to that source of income, if there's COVID and there's a lockdown, what are you going to do? This is the more reason why you need to develop multiple streams of income so that you're not dependent on a single source of income. Again, it works like this. With your Pesa tank, you have one tap at the top. At the end of the month, you receive your salary. You use part of this salary to feed your family. You pay the rent, you pay the medical bills, you pay the school fees, and you're dependent on a single source of income. Apart from that salary that hits your account at the end of the month, nothing else comes. But if you have multiple streams of income, what it means is that in addition to your salary, you still have other sources of income. And the situation is this: if one of the sources stops, if one of the sources of income, if there's a problem, if there's COVID, if there's something, if there is a pandemic, and one of the sources stops, or you are laid off, something hits your industry and you are laid off, it means that that primary salary that hits your account every month will not hit your account. So if there's a pandemic or you are laid off and that source of income stops, you are not going to be in trouble because you still have 2 or 3 other sources of income. That is pouring water into your Pesa tank. That is putting money into your pocket. That is putting money into your bank account. You are not dependent on a single source of income. This is why you need to move from just a single source of income and develop multiple streams of income. Have you wondered why the sea never dries up? In my country, there are 2 seasons. We have the rainy season or the dry season. Is either it's raining or it's not raining. In the dry season, you find most small rivers drying up. And it will dry up to the extent that you will never ever think that that place is even a river. But ironically, the bigger rivers, they do not dry up, and the sea will not dry up. And the reason is very, very simple. With the bigger rivers or the sea, the other smaller rivers, they are pouring their water into the sea. And that is why the sea never dries up. The bigger rivers, they never dry up. And it's all because the smaller rivers, the bigger rivers, they are all pouring their water into the sea. And that is why the sea never dries up. The sea has multiple sources of other bigger rivers and smaller rivers pouring their water into the sea. And so even in the dry season, the sea never dries up. Your financial situation and your financial life should resemble that of the sea and not that of the smaller river, which dries up in the dry season. Again, there can be COVID. There can be another pandemic. There can be another COVID. There can be another pandemic. And there can be another lockdown. where you cannot go to work. You can be laid off. A crisis will hit your industry and you can be laid off. What are you going to do if you're dependent on a single source of income? You are going to be in big trouble. But if you have developed multiple streams of income and you have 2 or 3 or 4 sources of income, if there's a pandemic, if you are laid off, if you lose your job, and that primary salary stops hitting your bank account, or that tap pouring water into your Pesa tank stops, you will not be in trouble because you have 2 or 3 or 4 other sources of income, which is pouring water into your tank, which is putting money into your pocket, which is putting money into your bank account. This is the reason why it is very crucial. It is very important for you to develop multiple streams of income.